what? We'll get started, and I'll change everybody's name, and especially when we go around and introduce yourself, so that I know who you are. But I'll change them. But welcome. We are recording now. My name is Sandy Ratliff, and I welcome you to the 10th annual Washington County Business Challenge. It's so good to see so many entrepreneurs looking to launch and expand a business in Washington County. Now, before we get started, I've got, excuse me, a couple housekeeping things to mention. First of all, we are going to be recording these sessions for education and training purposes, and they will be available on the our Facebook page, Washington County Challenge, if you've not been there. And it'll also be on our YouTube channel, Washington County, Virginia Challenge, if you want to go back. And I do highly recommend these to go back, because there's a lot over the next 5 weeks, basically, that you're going to be learning about. And I have found that that's a great resource, not even during the challenge, but after that, because you're going to be hearing over the next 5 weeks for some great panelists, folks that are sharing their expertise and their professional training that can help you as you move forward. So take advantage every night or every session. Be taking notes and have that ready for you, because we're doing this to help you not only financially, but to help you to grow as entrepreneurs. Now, please remember, and Kathy will go over this in the guidelines, but everyone has to have their videos turned on, and you should be facing the cameras at all times. That's part of the reasons why we are able to do this via video, Zoom. So we do ask you to keep your videos on. However, please keep your system's devices muted unless you have a question for our presenter that would be helpful for everybody that's involved. Now, to get this session moving forward, I would like for you to meet all of the team for the Washington County Challenge. It's not just one person. This has been a team effort over the past 10 years to do this session. As I say, I'm Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and I'm kind of the technology person on this program. And then Kathy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then Tanya, and then Anita, and then Nita, you do the other introduction. So that's who I am. And if you ever need anything, let me know. And as I said earlier, if you miss it, I'm the cool one on the team. So I'm the nice one, and the rest of them, So Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so welcome. And Sandy's already told you who we are. Whoever is logged on is Kathy Lowe. If you are a contestant, you need to turn your video on before we go any further. Unless this is Jean. Jean, if this is you, text me to let me know it is. But we have somebody that does not have their camera on. Okay, well, if you don't have your camera on, you're not going to get credit for being here. So that's the one thing that we want everybody to know. We usually have a PowerPoint presentation with all of the guidelines in them. And Jean says it's her. I'm only going to go over a couple things that I think are important. And the first thing is you must, and I've said this before, but this is the official, you must be sitting in front of your camera for the whole entire evening and not doing anything else except actively participating in the information. The other thing that I'll say is that whoever's on here tonight, you are the person that is getting credit for your team or your business. So if there's someone else that you think is necessary for them to be on here, you're allowed to have one excused absence. So, if they're not on here tonight, that is their excused absence. But one excused absence for the entire 6 programs. And I will encourage you to read your guidelines, and ask questions before we get too far down the road. So I don't really think I need to go through all of the
Well, let's
guidelines.
continue on with introductions, and that would kind of help everybody. So, Tanya,
That's what I was going to do, but Sandy's
I'm trying to keep
Sandy's
it going.
taking over.
All right, are you two finished?
Done.
Okay. I'm Tanya Triplett. I'm the Director of Economic Development and Tourism for the town of Abingdon. And I have an office at the big old brick house right on the corner of Cummings and Main, where you guys will be welcome to share any brochures that you might have once you open up your business. We have a Visit Abingdon, Virginia website. That is also an opportunity for small businesses in our area. So I look forward to hearing from each of you and learning what you're going to do and seeing how my department can assist and help you down the road.
And I'm Nita Farmer. I am the Executive Vice President of the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm so excited to see all of you tonight. Like Sandy and Alum said, this is our 10th year. You can see what a great executive team we have that works for each and every one of you. We had a water leak in our building, so I'm happy to say right now we're down at the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and we will be there until they finish our quarters, and hopefully that'll be, we don't know. So anyway, welcome tonight. And so we just thank you for being here. I see some familiar faces, and I just wish all of you luck on this. And we've got a great team. Gary McGow is wonderful. You'll love his presentation. So anything that we can do to help you and move you along, just let us know. What I'd like to do right now is give the name of the applicant. If you could tell us your business name, what are your suggested, what are you doing, your services or products, and if you're going to be a startup or an existing business. So the first one is Joshua Ketron.
Hey guys, I actually own Ketron Insurance Agency, which I may be looking to rebrand a little bit because I think I don't know. We're looking into some different things with our business model, but we do a lot of commercial related insurance. I'm an expert in workers' comp for construction and other types of industries. We do personal and auto insurance. I would still be considered a startup from the time frame that we launched, and we're just extremely excited to take part of this and get to know a lot of you guys and figure out your business and hopefully watch everybody grow together. So that's all I've got. I mean, it's pretty boring industry from a non-boring person. So
Thank you, Joshua. Hunter Gregory.
Hi guys, my name is Hunter Gregory, and starting a business called 202 Depot Bike and Shuttle. It'll be located in the town of Glade Spring. And what we'll be doing is providing a bike rental and shuttle service for the Salt Trail that runs from Glade Spring to Saltville, Virginia. We're hoping to be up and running by spring. So with the warmer weather coming, maybe we can get some people down and enjoy it and bring some so let more people know about that trail actually exists. There's a lot of people that don't even know it's there. It's a beautiful trail. So we're just hoping to get something going with that.
Thank you, Hunter. Megan Mitchell.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan Mitchell. I own Earth and Element. It's an eco-friendly zero waste refill store. So people can bring in empty bottles, or we have bottles available in store so that people can refill and reduce single-use plastics in their home. And I am a startup business. I opened up in mid-November.
Thank you, Megan. Wyatt Matthew.
Sorry about that. This microphone arrangement's a bit difficult to work with. My name's Wyatt Clayman. I proposed Appalachian Wood Brothers, a hot sauce startup company located here in the town of Abingdon, with plans to deliver restaurant grade hot sauce and hot condiments to restaurants around Washington County. It's a pretty interesting idea. It came up with me and my best friend. We love to cook. We thought, we could probably try to make it a business. And I honestly didn't think we'd get this far, but here we are at the webinar, making it a business.
I will admit your name threw me. The
Yeah,
name of your business threw me. I didn't think condiments at all.
thank you, Wyatt. Daniel Rice.
Hello, yeah, Dan Rice. So I am in the process of a startup business called River Feet Fly Fishing. I moved to Abingdon a little over a year ago. I've been in the fly fishing industry on and off most of the past 20 years. And what I'm looking to do is offer both locals and tourists the opportunity for some world-class fly fishing adventures. So we'll do anything from drift boat trips on some of the local rivers, bike and fish trips up on the Virginia Creeper Trail, as well as we're going to be doing some overnight camping trips and partnering with other regional lodges, Airbnbs, that sort of stuff. So we can help bring more tourism to share the wonderful outdoors that we have in this region and kind of just continue to grow that capacity and get people excited and introduced to all the fun stuff that we have to do for the outdoor and nature enthusiasts in the area.
Thank you, Dan. Campbell Buchanan. I guess he's on. Drop down to Jennifer Lowe.
Hello, I'm an audiologist, and so I want to start a practice in Glade Spring and hopefully pull in, I guess you could say, better hearing options at a more affordable price to some of those rural areas, all the way from Buchanan County to Grayson County, just trying to, I guess you can say, bring awareness and reduce some of the rural health disparities that we have in terms of hearing health care and the cost. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Thank you, Jennifer. Daisy Sturgill.
Hey everybody, I'm Daisy. I run Storm Brew Farm here in Abingdon, Virginia. We wholesale flowers and vegetables to restaurants. We have retail flower services, including a bouquet subscription where we deliver flowers for 23 weeks throughout the summer. And then we also have a really beautiful farm building that we just finished construction on. So we're starting to use that as a venue and doing classes and events and all kinds of things on the farm.
Thank you, Daisy. Scott Ramsey.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Scott Ramsey. My wife and I own Wendell Gardens. We purchased our farm last summer and got up and running this past November. So we are an aquaponics farm, as well as we are building a campground. So we're heavily invested in the agritourism space, which, based on the money I've spent in the last few months here, I'm glad to see that a lot of people are making investments here in tourism in the Abingdon area. So that's one of our missions, is to really help partner with other businesses, grow the community, grow the tourism here in the area. And like I said, for the next 1 to 3 years, we're focused on the campground and the aquaponics. But I have a 10-year roadmap to continue to develop out our property.
Thank you, Scott. Janice Thayer.
Hi, I'm Janice Thayer, and I own Curated Properties LLC here in Abingdon. It is a short-term rental company, and we specialize in creating unique guest stays, very distinctive guest stay experiences for out-of-towners, as well as anybody local who needs some midterm housing, like in a house fire or an emergency situation, interim housing. One of the reasons I started Curated Properties is because we live in such an amazing area and there's a lot of artisans here. and being able to attract people much like Scott, but beyond that, to accommodate them and then to introduce them to artists, restaurants, people like Daisy, Appalachian Teas and Botanicals. There's just so many amazing businesses here that if we can actually make literal introductions, I think we float all the boats at the same time. And so I buy products specifically to put into my short-term rentals that are all local wherever I can.
Thank you, Janice. And this is her second time here. Certainly glad to have her. Scott Sosha.
My name's Scott. I own All You Need Is Scott. It's a handyman business. I service people's small problems in their houses, changing out light fixtures, ceiling fans, you name it, little plumbing, little electrical. If I can't do it, I'll find somebody who can help them out. So I've been in business for 3.5 years now. So there you go.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
Kitsy Manuel.
Hey guys, I'm Kitsy and I own Love and Light Specialty Boutique. We have been open in a brick and mortar store in Abingdon for a little over 2 years. We're currently at 266 West Main, close to Tanya. And we offer ladies clothing boutique items. We also do a lot of custom orders, t-shirts, sublimation pictures on different items. We also offer a space for local artisans and makers to show their goods as well. And we are an existing business.
Kitsy has some Abingdon souvenirs. If anybody needs Abingdon souvenirs, Kitsy's got some nice magnets and postcards.
We're glad to have her again this year too. Thank you, Kitsy. Jackie Knopflin. Okay. Michael Miles.
Okay, who's then the other Kathy Lowe on camera? You'll have to turn your
That's Jean.
No, on the one on camera.
Oh, Mary.
I'm Mary Sorensen. I just moved to Abington a couple months ago and bought the property, a house, a couple doors down from the Barter. And we're in the process of setting up Revelation Studios. I do teaching Bible studies, things like that, but we're doing 2 Airbnbs or short-term vacation rentals, kind of with a little different emphasis there. And then I bought a couple trolleys and we're going to do a coffee shop and a meeting room.
Wow. Thank you, Mary. I think that's everyone.
Does anybody have any other questions to Kathy or any of the team about the guidelines, which I hope that everyone has studied those, went to bed with them, studying them, and know everything, or how the next 5 weeks will be going? Any questions?
Well, if you have questions in the guidelines, my cell phone number's on there, Tanya's cell phone number's on there, and Nita's cell phone number's on there. So call us anytime, any day. And without further ado, I think we just need to introduce our favorite business planner, Gary McGow.
Good evening, everybody. I'm glad you're able to be part of this. I'm the smart one, even though Sandy's the nice one. Just so you know. Before we get started, just a couple of just listening to your business, the types of businesses, Dan and Hunter. If you're not already connected with the Mendota Trail and the Creeper Trail, the folks in Mendota have really done an excellent job in a short period of time of developing their trail. And so anyway, and also in the past, and maybe you can check with Sandy or with Nita, but in the past years, we have had outdoorsy kinds of people developing fishing and camping and kayaking and tubing and all that in places I wouldn't have thought that they would be successful, but they have been. And likewise with your trails and all that, Tanya is the tourist industry in this region, both in Bristol and Abingdon and areas around. They just do a good job, and so you all that are going to be doing in that, in that environment, you need to get together with Tanya and the other people in her department and see what she can do to help you guys out. The only other quick, Jennifer, you're an audiologist. I'm happy to say that I just spent 6 years with Bristol Regional Speech and Hearing. And if you need some guidance or you need to talk to some folks who are trying to develop the business and get the word out in the same not the same locations, but similar locations as what you're working in. They're in Lebanon and they're out in the outlying rural areas, and they could be a lot of help to you and to give you some guidance and just kick around ideas. So afterwards, if you want to get in touch with me, I'll be happy to connect you with Speech and Hearing and see what you can develop. Okay, I'm going to I've been doing this with these lovely ladies for, I don't know, it may not have been the entire 10 years, but almost. And so you're all in good hands. The other thing you should know is in this region, there is a lot of help. So if you've got questions about any type of aspect of your business plan or your financing or your forecasting, there is a lot of assistance around here. And for the most part, all of it is free. So there's the Bristol Chamber, there's the Abingdon Chamber, there's the Small Business Development Center, and I'm going to have a slide on some of that stuff here coming up. So I'm going to share my screen here. If I can figure out how to do that, I may need some guidance, and then we'll get started. And now, if you have any questions about anything, if we can't get to it tonight, then I'll be happy. Just contact me later. I'll have my email, my phone number. This is what I do. So if anybody needs anything, I'll be glad to help. Okay, so let's get started here. If I can figure out how to do this. There we go. Start. Okay. All right. So these are our sponsors, and we've kind of introduced ourselves. As I indicated, these are the small business development centers in the region. Their addresses and phone numbers, they're readily available. Again, if anybody wants I'm going to tell you well, let me get started here. We've gone through the welcome. What we're going to do is talk about business plans and the elements of the plan, some strategies, some keys to success, and your financial statements and your controls. We're about to go through an information overload. Tonight, we're going to provide a lot of information about a lot of things. And if you've got any concerns, just understand there's a lot of things to do. Not all of them are very difficult. And how you eat the elephant, you just do it one bite at a time. So you take it one piece at a time, you work your way through it, and you move on to the next. Okay. So just for the record, so you know where I'm coming from, the business that I once owned was, I thought it was a wall bed company, and you see a photo there. But it turns out that after about 4 months into the business, I was in the cabinet business, not the bed business. As you can see, the majority of the majority of the product was cabinetry, and the smallest part was the bed. And I was in a little strip center along one of the busy streets. This was in California. All right, the rewards we get for starting our own business is the potential of financial security, but the flip side is the potential of lack of your financial security. Certainly it's independence. You get to do what you want when you want, pretty much, even though your customers have something to say about that. There's a huge benefit in your own self-satisfaction for doing what you're doing. And of course, the other differentiation is, are we creating a job or are we creating a business? In my case, I thought I was starting a business, but it turns out I was starting a job, not just for myself, but for a couple of other people as well. The bad news is the Small Business Administration tells us that there's a lot of small business failures. I get calls all the time from people that want to start a business and say, is there any grant money out there for people who want to start a business? And given the statistics, and we can discuss the statistics up or down, but the point is after about 10 years, 80% of the people are going to, or 70% of the folks are going to be out of business. I was in for 10 years, and then I got out. The risk is there, and people call about grants and say, is there any grants for small businesses to get started? And if you look at these statistics, you're going to ask yourself, why would someone loan money, government money, to someone who we know after 10 years are going to be out of business? So the quick answer to, is there any money available? The answer is no, there isn't. There may be for some nonprofit type things, but typically it's after you've already been started in the nonprofit arena and you're expanding programs. Why do businesses fail? My philosophy when I got out of bed in the morning was, give me the worst problem right now and let's get on with it. And so the inexperience of people who own businesses, I was in corporate life for 20 years before I started my business, and I thought I was going to be, cruise right through this, but it's different. It's not corporate. You don't have different departments. You're all the departments. You're responsible for them all. And so having inexperience, we'll talk a little bit about that. By inexperience, I don't mean fly fishing, or I don't mean bike trails, or I don't mean audiologist. What I mean is the accounting, the backup, the preparation of taxes, your web page, your Facebook page, your brochures, all of those kinds of things. We're going to talk about that in a little while, but that's part of your inexperience. And so what we try to do is, we don't try to tell you how to do the flowers or how to manage property. We try to tell you about the back store, where all the decisions are made. Owner's inability to make decisions and solve problems. When you're in your own business, you are a problem solver. The owner's lack of commitment or endurance. You folks that are in business already, you have a better appreciation than the people who are starting. But your business has got to come first. Your commitment, your endurance, your dedication. You got to want to do this. It's a difficult task. Why is it difficult? Because business owners have so many different hats to wear. These are just a few of the things that you have to be aware of. Now, do you have to be a futurist, or do you have to be a marketer, or do you have to be a web page guy, or do you have to be a software technician? No, you don't. But if you're not, then you're going to pay someone to do that for you. And when you pay someone to do something for you, that means you don't keep the money, that they keep it. So the more things, the more self-sufficient you can be in every aspect of this. If you can do it yourself, you should probably do that. But it takes up time. And again, that's part of the back office information that we want to present to you, that there's more to it than just the technology of what you're doing. The challenges that are facing small businesses, typically you say, I ran out of money, or I didn't have the right clients. That's about marketing. That means I didn't sell enough. So, businesses that sell too much don't go out of business. It's the people who don't sell enough go out of business. So marketing's got to be on your list. Cash flow, in my business, cash flow was an issue because there's certain things I had to pay for when I got them. I wasn't able to wait 30 days or 60 days. So if I knew I was going to sell something, and if I got a cabinet or I got a bed in there and I wasn't able to turn it around right away, then I'm working on my own money. So cash flow is a concern. It's different. It's different from having enough money. Cash flow is a different problem. And again, you folks that are in your own business, you probably already appreciate that. Fatigue is a big problem. You get pressure 24/7, 365, and a business owner gets tired out. They just get tired out from being beaten all the time. I can remember, and I say this to you now, and I'll say it to you in 10 years. On any given day, if somebody walked into my store and said, I want to buy your business, I'd say, sit down, let's talk. And there are some days I would say, no, I'm not interested. But one day a week, you're fatigued and you're almost ready to pull the plug. So it's that goes back to desire and endurance and your ability to keep up. Founder dependence, sometimes that's a little difficult. It's the owner wants to do something a certain way all the time. And sometimes they don't keep up with technology or accounting or sales, and things depreciate because the founder isn't willing to change anything. The other thing is, when you want to grow or you want to improve your quality, you've got to balance your price and your quality and your growth. So you're really looking at charts, you're looking at finances, you're looking at cash flow, you're looking at your product and how can I upgrade it. Those are the kinds of things that pull a business down. Taxes is always a problem. Typically, taxes to me was a cash flow problem. All of a sudden, every 3 months, the guy's knocking on the door saying, "Where's the income tax?" And if I didn't have the cash, I couldn't send him a check. And so taxes and cash flow to me were issues. Competition from a larger business, Walmart or Kmart or Home Depot or whatever, those are always a problem. Anybody who's in business or any small business you talk to, the quality of your employees, the problems your employees create. A lot of businesses don't want to grow. I didn't want to grow my business. I just had too many problems with employees that kept coming and going and leaving me dry. And the bigger you get, the more employees you have. And so the quality and now with everybody's minimum wage going up, that's not helpful to a small business either. And inflation rates and finance rates are going up. So those of us who have to borrow money, it hurts a little bit harder than it did a couple of years ago. The other thing I'll tell you that, it took me a while to figure this out. I started business and I wanted to sell my product to anybody who walked in the store. And I did some of that. And I was pretty busy. But after a little while, the phone and the action items from the phone, I was dealing with issues and problems and customers every single day. And every once in a while, you got to sit across the street and you got to look at your own business. I mean, who knows your business better than you do? Who knows what you need? Sit over there and analyze the business, not the day-to-day stuff, but the whole business. Do I have the right truck? And do I need to hire more employees? What are they doing over there, and what could they do better? Now, maybe you don't have the money for it, but you got to sit across there and look at the forest and not the everyday trees. You got to, that's your guiding light for where am I going to be in 5 years or where am I going to be in 10 years if I don't do the things, if I don't get it started right now. All right, what's the business plan and why do I need it? That's what we're going to talk about now. And the other thing is, no one's ever going to be as passionate about your business as you are. I mean, I could stay up all night long talking to people about my business when I had it. I was just enthusiastic as I could be. What is a business plan? It's the roadmap. It helps you determine the feasibility of your business. And now the other thing I should mention to you is, we have a pretty good array of different types of businesses we're talking about here. But this same, if you get to a point, you're going to go through 6 weeks of these classes. And by the way, these are good classes and you need to be there, and there's some great information. And the next classes that come beyond this one are going to be information overloads also. But anyway, if for some reason you do your financial forecasting and you look at the bottom line and you say, well, I don't know if this is going to produce enough income for me and my family. This process we're going to talk about tonight is the same process for whatever business you're doing. So, I mean, we've got 10 or 12 different businesses here, and we're all going to use the same format. The business plan is the common denominator for describing and developing your business. And if you go to the library and you look in the business section, you look for business plans, there's going to be 20 books there, but they're all going to tell you the same thing. This is how this works. All right. So this is all. The business plan is also going to develop a work plan for the operations of your business. How is this really going to work? To obtain capital to start and sustain your business, you're going to want to have somebody's going to want to read this business plan and find out, do I really want to lend this guy some money? And it's a guide to successful outcomes. If you do this right, your business plan is a living document, and those of us who kept our business plan up to date and modified it did better than those that don't. All right, the business plan is basically a written description of how you're going to operate and manage your business. Just a quick story. I worked on development of. I got the idea. I did some research. I did a little traveling to find out what it was all about. I went various places. Sat down with my wife and explained, this is what I think I want to do. And then I wrote the business plan. And she read it and she said, this isn't what we talked about. This is not what we talked about. And she was right, of course. And the reason it wasn't is because as you think through what you're going to do, when you document how you're actually going to do it, things change. Your ideas change, your methods change. Maybe you're, instead of doing 20 products, well, maybe we ought to do 10. So everything, as you begin to develop it, write it all down and read it, and have other folks read it, you're going to find that your ideas, it's the same idea, but you're going to go about it differently. And that's what the business plan helps you do. It also is going to address the strengths and weaknesses of you and strengths and weaknesses of your competition. And I can't begin to tell you how important it is to know what who your competition is and what makes you different. I could spend 20 minutes on that easily, but it's important to know who your competition is and why you are different from them. It's also going to be a plan for what kind of resources you're going to need, not just financial, but also equipment, cars, trucks, whatever. It's some of the equipment is expensive, and this is going to help you think it through. And it's not just a list of things you're going to buy, but there could be leasehold improvements, and there could be all kinds of things that you're going to want to do that when you begin to catalog those and say, these are the things I think we need to buy, writing it all down and analyzing it, that's what the business plan is going to help you do. And it's also going to do help you with your expected financial performance and your income. We won't spend any time on the type of business. There's sole proprietor, and there's partnerships, and there's all different kinds of corporations. We will talk about if you have a partnership, you're going to want an agreement, a partnership agreement. It's like a prenuptial agreement. Partnerships fail for lots of reasons. Some are good reasons and some are bad reasons. But it's just like a partnership. You spend enough time with somebody, and all of a sudden you have personality problems, or you have one person's more committed than the other. One's more driven for success, and the other one's not. Your values or your ethics or your customer relations are different. Even your lack of trust. So the partnership agreement helps you down at the bottom there. It says develop an exit strategy. That's what your partnership agreement essentially is if something goes wrong. Now, it not only is if something goes wrong, but it also depicts how you're going to manage your business. Instead of just a sole proprietor where you have to do everything, now you have two people. So who's going to do the accounting, and who's going to do the engineering, or who's going to do the operations, or who's going to do the procurement? Because you don't want to step on each other's toes all the time, because that creates personality clashes, differing values, lack of success, and unequal commitment. So you want to and there's a partnership agreement is not a complicated document. I can give you samples of them. I can give you samples. And by the way, I can go back here and I can give you samples of your articles of incorporation. Yeah, you're going to need a lawyer to look at some of this stuff, but a lot, you can save yourself a lot of money by just using the standard forms. All right. Typically, what the business plan describes is who's involved with the business. A resume, other people, employees. What is your resume? What qualifies you to do this? What qualifies your other key people to do it? It's part of your team. Who's your banker? Who's your lawyer? Who's your insurance guy? Those are all part of your team. Okay. The relevance of your experience is going to convince someone that you're qualified to do this, but you're not going to be qualified to do everything. In my case, I was qualified to do the cabinetry and the bed and all that stuff, but I was a rookie at it, and I had to rely on the expertise of the corporation that I was buying my products from. In my case, I was in San Diego, and their corporation was up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so we had to develop a rapport where if I had issues or problems or engineering things, or I didn't know how to do something, they were going to help me. And so that the relevance of their experience, I could add them to my team. An organizational structure, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then also some people, and I did in mine, some people like to develop job descriptions for who the employees are going to be or who the partners are going to be. So my job description is this, and my partner's job description is this. So people know, and you both agree that who's responsible for what. Okay, so what in developing your ideas, who is your target customer, and what do they want and expect from you? Where are they? How do you intend to reach them? And who and where are the competition? And how do they operate? Okay, so these are some of the things you can work out when you're developing. And your target customer is an indication of how you're going to market, what types of marketing you're going to do, what do they expect, and in today's environment, my personal experience, yours may be different, but in my experience, I just want what you said you were going to do. That's all I want. I don't want anything more. Don't want anything less, because we are overwhelmed with companies and contractors and repair people and whatever we're doing that you just are not satisfied because they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And my philosophy was in my small business, for me to be successful, I just have to follow through and do what I told them I was going to do. It was as simple as that. And because there are so many companies that don't. So you can be a standout. I mean, take a look at, I don't know if any of you own property or anything, but when you call a contractor, come over for an estimate for plumbing or electrical or lawn service or whatever it is, half of them never show up. Now, how the hell are they going to get the job if they don't even show up to give you an estimate? And so half of the battle of getting the contract is just showing up. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind. All right, the business plan's a written statement of all the things we just talked about. It's a means to communicate to your people, to your employees, your investors, your bank. It provides a ruler for you to measure how you're doing. And it provides the finances and the financial forecast and the cash flow to help you manage your business. That's all come from the business plan. Business plan is information about your customers. We said your target, how big are they, where are they located, what are their needs, the best means to reach them, how are you going to do that? It's about your competition, who are they, what do they do, what makes you different? And it's about your operating environment. This I just threw in here. This is typically what you're going through now. This is I'm gonna develop my business plan and my marketing plan, and I'm gonna go to these classes. And at the end of the 6 weeks or whatever it is, they're gonna kick me out the door, and I'm gonna start a successful business. This is just kind of scoping it out. It's another form of a plan. Typically, I like to describe the business plan as chapters of a book. You know, your executive summary is a 2 or 3 page summary of the whole thing. And normally you develop that last because it takes a lot of research to summarize the whole package. But developing your business description, your products and your management and your marketing, competition, location, all those things. Again, your executive summary is 2 or 3 pages. You got to get it right, because people are going to read the first couple pages and they're going to decide whether they want to be in or not. And that could be partners, that could be employees, that could be bankers, it could be a lot of people. So you want to do your research, and you want to be able to explain what you're doing and be enthusiastic enough that you're going to be successful doing it in your executive summary. If the reader is not satisfied, they close the book. They don't go to the business description or products or management. They just say, you know what, we're not interested. And that's how it is. Business description is what type of business, what's your reason for starting it? What is the gap in your community that you want to fill with your product? What do you stand for? Those things like what industry, and a lot of people put national statistics in their business plans. But my experience is that what they're doing in California, it doesn't necessarily work for Washington County. They're different people, different economy, different interests. So spend a lot of time researching the government statistics and how many people drive past that. I mean, now for yourself, you're going to want to know how many people drive past your brick and mortar business, but sometimes that's not the critical decision. Your products and services, you want to describe what do you sell, what service do you deliver, your pricing. Pricing is not to be taken lightly. I know that, let's see if I can figure this out. I made a couple notes here. Kitsy owns the boutique. She's got to price it high enough that she gets what she wants, but low enough that people won't go somewhere else. And in my business, my average sale was $5,000 or $6,000, and my competition was $1,000 or $2,000. So I had to convince people that I'm selling you the Cadillac and not the Volkswagen. And so it was critical to me to analyze my pricing strategy and provide the competition's pricing and why they're different and why I was different. So it's important. Pricing is not as easy as you might think it is. But one thing you do have to know, and it took me a little while to figure that out when I started my business, is regardless of how much you mark it up, you have to get a price for your product that's not going to drive you out of business. And I used to deal a lot with all the stuff I built. You remember the photo I took. All the stuff I built was all custom built, and so I also had designers and builders and interior people coming to me wanting what can you get? What can you give it for me so I can put my percentage on it? And my answer was, this is my price. If I sell it to you any cheaper, I'm going to lose money and I'm going to go out of business. So why would I sell it to you cheaper so you could stay in business and I'd go out of business? So you got to figure out what your overhead and your labor and all that stuff's going to be and what you need to sell your product for. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for a loss. Pricing is not easy. All right, management and operations. This is a simple organization chart. And I don't know, Dan and Hunter and Wyatt, some of you guys, you have a product, and you're in operations and you're in purchasing and stuff like that. But you take you're the owner of the business. And if you believe that invoicing and accounting and doing your taxes and doing your financial forecasting, if you believe that's a function that needs to be done in your business, in purchasing, if you're going to be buying things, you're going to be buying equipment or maintaining it, if you're going to be doing sales, you're going to be doing operations. As a small business owner or a sole proprietor or a partnership, you need to recognize that these are jobs. And there may be other jobs. This is just a generic organization chart. There may be other jobs as well. But the point is you as the owner or the sole proprietor or the chief or whatever you call yourself, you have to recognize that these are actual jobs. And if they're actual jobs, then you have to budget time in your weekly schedule to do those. Okay. I'll give you one quick example that should be pretty easy. Let's say you're painting houses. There's a guy next door to me. He's getting his house painted. The guy's been there a couple of weeks. He's about to finish up. So he finishes this past Friday and then he leaves. Where does he go next? Because he is busy. He's a sole proprietor and he's busy painting a house. When he gets done painting the house, who's doing the sales to sell another paint job? If he's the sole proprietor, no one is doing that. So now he paints a house for 2 weeks, then he looks for another job for 2 weeks, he gets it, and he paints for 2 more weeks. So he's only working half of the time. So you have to recognize that these are real jobs. And then in your weekly activity, if you're going to do the sales, then you need to leave work at 3 o'clock and spend between 3 and 5 o'clock going to customers and providing quotes, because that's not going to happen automatically. And if nobody's out there selling, then when you get finished with that job, you want to go to the next one, it's not going to be there. So you have to recognize these are real jobs and you need to devote some time to them. And those that do not, you're going to find you're going to have a problem. And those you folks that are already in business, I hope you already recognize that. All right. You're also going to describe your management team and who your key players are. You may want to get a board of advisors, which is your insurance guy, and maybe you got a webpage guy, or you're in the Chamber of Commerce, or you go to Small Business Development Center, those people can help you with stuff. So you run some ideas past them. If they sound good or if they sound bad, they'll tell you. Okay, your professional associations. What qualifies you to do this? What's your work experience? What's your administration experience? Do you have outside people that you use as consultants or independent contractors? What are your personnel needs? How many employees you think you're going to need? What's your legal structure? And again, the legal structure, yeah, you have to make a choice, but you don't have to make that choice right away. You folks that are, and you're probably going to talk to an attorney down the road, but you can work as a sole proprietor, or you can work as a partnership for a while before you actually make up your mind how this is going to work for you. Probably the best guy to talk to is your tax guy, based on what you think your income is going to be. Okay. For the marketing and analysis, let's see here. Which target markets are you going to serve? Who are your business competitors? How does your product and service differ from others? What message do you want to deliver, and how are you going to do it? How will you create the word of mouth, or the buzz? The word of mouth is the best advertising you can have. What media will you use to advertise? What types of publicity will you use? Do you need a sales force? What sales promotions do you use? Are you going to have a semi-annual sale, or a summer sale, or back to work sale, or what? What customer experience will you deliver, and how are you going to do it? And what are the pros and cons of any locations? Now, we'll go back up here. Let's see. What media will you use to use as to advertise? Every time I do this, I present the same issue. I don't know how often you guys look at Facebook or some of these other social media things, but if all the business owners do what they say they're going to do, then when you look at your Facebook page, you ought to see a ton of ads. And you don't. I don't in my Facebook. I don't see any hardly. So all the people that told me that in their business plan that I'm going to use social media, it was just an explanation to fill up a void in their business plan, because they're not doing it. Otherwise, people would be getting more advertisements in their social media. So people say that because it's free, number one, and number two, if they put their mind to it, it could be successful. The problem is they don't. They just say they're going to, and they don't. And they say that because doing the newspaper or the radio or the TV costs a lot of money. So if I'm developing my business plan, not only am I going to tell you folks that are, let's assume you folks, all you folks in the audience here are going to be reviewing my business plan. Not only am I going to tell you I'm going to use social media, but I'm going to give you a social media calendar. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to say. I mean, you know what you're going to say at St. Patrick's Day. You know what you're going to say at Labor Day. You know what you're going to say at the 4th of July. If you send me the business plan, I'm going to look at it and say, this guy's serious about doing social media. So if your social media pages that you use are not flooded with advertising, that means all the people that have said they're going to use all this stuff aren't using it. So therefore, they're not advertising. The point is, you got to get the word to the people. And while the social media is a good idea, you got to use it. Okay. And also, anybody knows anything about real estate, the pros and cons of any location, you got to analyze that pretty well. Your business plan should have, if you're brick and mortar, your business plan should have 2 or 3 potential locations. If you're doing a financial forecast, which we'll talk about later, you need to have a B, and a C that are based on what happens if if I go down to Main Street, Abingdon, and I walk into this thing and I say, I want to do a wall bed company, the landlord says, well, I don't need a wall bed company here in my building. So here I've made all my plans to go into this building. It's just the right size, just the right place. But the landlord says, I'm not doing that. I've got plans for something else. So now I got to go back and do it all over again. Okay. So just know that you need to be thinking about alternative locations. Hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but it could. Competition. Who are your competitors? Are they direct competitors? How are they different? Are they steady? Are they increasing? Are they growing? They get more locations? Are they get higher sales? What can you learn from them as you're sitting on the curb looking across the street at someone else's building? What can you learn from them? They got a better truck. Is it bigger? You don't have to make 2 trips. They use a trailer. Do they have all the right tools? You know, what can you learn from those guys? And what are the strengths and weaknesses of those folks? I told you I was selling the Cadillac and the other guy was selling the Volkswagen. So I had to know why we were different. And I had to be able to explain that because it was going to cost them $3,000 or $4,000 more. And what does your business offer that maybe the competition doesn't? Maybe it's quicker delivery or lower price or higher quality, whatever. Location, we talked about location. What are your needs? How much space do you need? What would the lease cost? Are you going to lease or are you going to buy? What's the term of the duration of the lease? Who's going to pay for the leasehold improvements? Sometimes the business, the property owner pays for those and then adds them into your lease, or you can say, let me pay for them, and I don't have to add them to my lease. So there's different ways of doing it. How much traffic are you going to get? How much exposure? And like I said before, what are options B or C? You can't depend on just one location. You got to research them all and do a financial forecast that's going to reflect those things. Financial projections. We're going to talk about the P&L. Just quickly, this is a estimated profit and loss, income and expense, or profit and loss. Under the revenue area you see up there, it says list all the possible sources of income and separate on separate lines for better accuracy. The more detail you can put into your revenue, the more accurate this is going to be. And if you do a decent job of this, you're not going to be correct, obviously, because this is a estimated calculation. But how many sandwiches do I need to sell per day, per week, or per month to reach my goal in the lower right-hand corner, my total income for the year? How many of these products do I need to sell? How many fishing guides do I need to sell? How much hot sauce do I need to sell to meet my financial goal? And if you fill this thing out and you calculate it and you have the other thing you're going to have to do financially is what number is the go or no go in the lower right-hand corner. When you talk about, I need this much to live, what is my minimum amount to go in that total income for the year? What is my minimum amount? You have to decide that, because it's likely you may have to redo this pro forma income and expense several times to get there. If I say I need to sell 5 sandwiches a day, 25 a week or whatever it is, and I don't reach that number in the lower right-hand corner, then maybe I need to go to 10 sandwiches a day. So if I'm going to go to 10 sandwiches a day, what else do I have to do to tell people that I'm selling sandwiches? What do I got to do? Do I got to lower my expenses? Do I got to increase my marketing? What have I got to do to sell my sandwiches so I can meet my objective in the lower right-hand corner? And this form alone, as you're thinking about the business plan helps you understand the details of what you're going to do. But this report here, when you take the details and you put a number on and you spread it off across 12 months, this document here is going to tell you whether you're going to make any money or not. And it doesn't cost you anything. You just do this, you figure out the form, and if the number doesn't come out right in the lower right-hand corner, you either got to change something in the profit and loss, or you got to move on to another project entirely. And that happens all the time. You have a good idea. I can tell you the reason you don't see a lot of stained glass companies around the country is because they're labor intensive, and no one's going to pay $2,000 for a little flower to hang in your window, because that's how much it costs. So you don't see those places around, because the amount of money you can get for a stained glass versus how much people are going to pay for it, you're not going to make the number down in the lower right-hand corner. It's just too difficult. And so you don't see a lot of those products around. Okay, so that's an example of you got to figure this out before you get started. And trust me when I tell you, this form, you fill this out, and you're going to have a pretty good idea of not only what you're going to make, but you're going to have an idea, what do I have to change in order to increase that? So this is a key form. And if any of you want this form, I can email it to you. You see all those little zeros over there where it says revenue. So all you do is lay in the numbers, and the form will add it up for you. So if you want that, that's fine. You can change it however you want, but it's already there, and so you don't have to reinvent a Microsoft Excel form. But this is a key form. I can't emphasize enough that this is going to tell you whether you're going to make some money. All right. Strategies and tactics. A SWOT analysis. For those of you that don't know, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a good idea for you to sit down and do a SWOT analysis for not only your business, but yourself. Based on your qualifications for what you as a person's strength is, and what you as a person's weaknesses are. Okay. How are you going to capitalize on any competitive advantage you have? How are you going to provide continuous improvement, and how are you going to measure it, analyze it, control it? If you want to grow, you're going to have to develop a plan for that. That's part of your strategy. When I talked about, where am I going to be in 5 years? Where am I going to be in 10 years? You sit on the curb across the street and you say, now, where are these guys going? What do they have to do differently to do what they want to do? And who would know better than you, because it's your business. You just got to look at the forest sometimes and not each of the trees. All right. Objectives, are they achievable? Are they too ambitious? Where are you going? Measure the key issues, your key products, your key problems. You got to be doing that all the time. What is your strategy? Say what and when you're going to do stuff. I showed you that little chart for developing your business plan and financial plan and actually going into business after 3 months. This is part of that. One of the key things is, when am I going to reach 100K in sales? When am I going to reach 200K in sales? When am I going to reach 50K in sales? Okay, so it's this is kind of scoping out your objectives. All right, so some of the key points here is, I showed you that slide with all the hats. You got to be self-sufficient. You got to be the computer guy, the software guy, the hardware guy. You got to be the maintenance man. You got to clean. You got to sweep the floor. You got to dump the trash. And if you got to pay somebody else to do that, it's coming out of your pocket. So you just understand that the more you can do your web page, your social media, I talk to a lot of nonprofits about web pages, and when you're doing a web page, as you may or you may not know, but somebody has to take the pictures, and somebody has to develop the text that go along with it. Somebody has to take the pictures of the product, and somebody has to describe the product, and all those things that I just said, the owner of the business has to do. So the only thing left to do is to give them to a web page guy and say, can you put this on the web? Well, that's 10% of the work. The other 90% you've already done. So you have to do that. So why pay somebody else money for a web page you can do yourself? Now, do you know how to do it? Probably not, but they're pretty easy nowadays. And if I can do a web page, Lord knows you guys can do a web page. So self-sufficiency is going to be a major key in whether you're going to make any money or not. The other thing is do what you say you're going to do. If you want a reputation as you develop your customers and you provide products and you do what you say you're going to do, they're going to come back. Now, yeah, you could do more than you say you're going to do. That'd be great. But if at a minimum, you just do what you say you're going to do. And trust me, in all the years I was in business, that was my motto. If I told you I was going to do it, I'm going to do it. Selecting the best location. The best location may not be the most popular location. It all comes down to finances. Selecting the best location, keeping the costs low. That's part of your self-sufficiency. The speed of the products or service. I'm better because I can get it to you in 2 weeks, and they're going to take 2 months. The uniqueness of your business is going to play a big role. Employee training. It just seems like every time you get somebody trained, they leave and they go somewhere else. And so part of that employee thing is not only training them but paying them. And again, it's money out of your pocket. But sometimes if you need some key people, you want to keep them around, and sometimes you got to do that. Negotiating favorable partnerships. I learned in my business after a year or two, and I don't care what it was. I was buying lumber, I was buying paint, I was buying mattresses, and I was buying wall beds, and I was buying equipment and tools. Everything is negotiable. If you don't ask, how can we negotiate this? Person's not going to negotiate. So you got to take the lead. But trust me, everything is negotiable. Rents, repairs, everything. So just keep that in mind, because you can save yourself some money by just thinking it through. Okay. Market visibility and branding. We talk about that. Some of you guys are going to be out in the country where people a lot of people aren't going to be cruising by. So you're going to have to think of a way to get the word out. Email. I can tell you that I worked a little bit, it's been several years now, but if you want to see somebody who's got it going on, sign up for the email for Abingdon Winery. Those folks have got it going on out there. I don't know whether they're making any money, but they have expanded that place out there, and they are making an effort out there, and they got something going on all the time. It's music, or it's food, or it's wine, or it's something. It's a training session. They are making an effort. They are actually doing what they said they're going to do, and they're trying their hardest. So just sign on to the Abingdon Winery newsletter, and you'll get it on the computer, and you can say, "Wow, man, these guys got it going on." So, and they're out in the boonies. You just don't drive past that place. And so, in order for them to get some visibility, that's what they got to do. All right. Let's see here. All right. The other thing is, and I'm sure somebody else will tell you this along the next 6 weeks, but the Small Business Administration has, and the website's up there at the top. Copy that down. Plan your business is this is a pretty good little setup here. I've just given you the highlights here about market research and writing your business plan and calculating your costs and your credit and all that. It's a pretty good little website, and I should say little, but you can see behind the arrow there's some other part, manage your business and some other stuff, grow your business. It's a pretty good site, and it's got some good information. So just write that down. It's worth a visit. Here's some more places to go: Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Tennessee Chamber of Commerce. Bristol. Abingdon, the city of Abingdon with Tanya Triplett, small business development centers, Virginia Community Capital, local banking institutions can help you. Small Business Administration can help you. There's SPA loans. You'll be talking to some financial guys down the road. Small business development centers. I gave you that slide, right when we started out. There's a bunch of SPDCs around, universities and colleges. So there's a lot of help around, and most of it's free. In fact, all of these I put here are free. So just be aware of that. Okay, that's it. Again, if you want any assistance, any guidance, any comments, or any forms, if there's a business form out there, I probably have it on my computer. So if you're needing something, or you got a question that you don't understand something, I'll be happy to run it up the flagpole for you. This is what I do for the Bristol Chamber and for Washington Chamber. And so, just give me a call, send me an email, and I'll be happy to help however I can. And all I can do is wish you guys the best of luck. You all have some pretty good opportunities. Networking is a big deal. The tourist industry, Tanya can help you. It's a pretty big deal. And then Jennifer, if you feel the urge, contact me, and I can connect you with speech and hearing, and they're going to be able to help you do stuff. Trust me. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Sandy, you got any
I actually have lots of questions, but I mean, I don't want to, change the timeline of our class, but like, one of my big things is like how to find out like what I guess the market share of your competitors are. Like, how do you know if they're doing well? I mean, the fact that they're in business says that they're, still in business, but are they barely in business? Are they thriving? Like, that information is not really public information. So like when you're putting that section together, like I've started kind of putting the competitor section together, I don't really know. They offer similar products, there's a range of pricing. There's definitely what I feel like some gaps in patient-centered care, but how do you know? Like,
well, you don't, but there are some roadmaps that you can follow, and you need to call me when you call me tomorrow or something, and I'll connect you with speech and hearing. I was on their board for 6 years, so I'm pretty familiar with the trials and tribulations that you're going through. And we may not have definite answers, but we can give you trends, and we can tell you what we think about it. Okay, so just call me later. Yours is a unique type of thing because it's really needed up in that area, and we can get you connected up there too.
Okay, thank you.
Jennifer, another thing that you can do, the Google machine, as I call it, if you just will look, Google how audiologists in a 50-mile radius or whatever, you can see how long they've been in business, and you can see how many ratings they have and all of that. And so that kind of helps you with them. And does Google Analytics, can you find out things about other businesses on Google Analytics? Anybody?
Only if you put their names in, or if you search there and there's something in the media, either online anywhere. That would be the only way.
Jennifer, I don't think I understand what you're looking for, but I don't think you need that. Okay. I think what you need more is the number of potential people, the income levels, and you need to know who the competition is, but I don't think you need to be concerned about how much they make or how successful. I think it's different when you're out in the rural areas. It's just different, and I think we can help you with that without having to. I mean, you have to do some research, but I don't think you need to know how successful they are. You can tell by the ones who are advertising. You know how much advertise. Well, If you don't know how much advertising costs, that's another opportunity you're going to have to find out. That goes for all of you. How much does it cost to run an advertisement in the paper? Or how much does it cost to do a TV spot? You should know those things because it's going to make a difference in how you go forward. It's only expensive when it doesn't work, right? You know, Jennifer, you see these come to Falls Plaza and we'll make you here, right?
Mhm.
Well, they wouldn't be spending that kind of money if it wasn't working. Okay, so
Well, I know I looked at billboards and they were the cheapest billboard I could find for a month was $1,500. That's a lot. That's a lot of money for one billboard.
yeah, well, I can tell you that
You just strategically placed that one billboard.
the people at Speech and Hearing can help you, and they have an audiologist there that's very inventive. And I think if we can hook you up, I think you'll be satisfied.
Thank
You know, the other thing, Jennifer, and on our on our Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator website, we have all of the new knowledge classes, and statistically, old people do Facebook, which is probably statistically who your customers are going to be. And so there's a couple of classes about marketing on that Facebook, on our website that you can just click on the link and watch those. But I did a Facebook ad yesterday for the Rotary Frolics and reached 3,300 people in one day for $40.
Wow.
So those social media ads are something that we've got a new tenant at the incubator, and she does Facebook ads, and she's so covered up that she's had to hire 3 people in a year.
Now, the other thing we should mention here for all of you is those noon knowledge recorded classes, how to do QuickBooks, how to set it up, how to operate it, how to do Facebook, how to design and develop your own web page. These are classes just like you have gone through right now, the same kind of classes we're doing now on different subjects. And so if you have a need for any one of those, you get together with Kathy and or Tanya, and they can get you set up with that. And there's dozens of them. There's, I don't know how many.
120 some now.
Yeah, there's just and it's all those are just 1 hour deals. And if you watch them, trust me, you're going to come out a whole lot smarter than you were. So those are really, really worth watching, and they're free, and you can do it whenever you want.
I just posted on chats, tomorrow's session is on what will marketing look like in the future. And we got Taylor Winchester with Foundy. He is in, I think, Nashville. He helps record labels, creators, artists, and event promoters develop and execute digital campaigns. So we are extremely lucky to have him tomorrow to lead that session at noon. So if you are available, I just posted the link. Get your peanut butter and jelly sandwich and come and join us around noon.
And the other thing that Sandy posted, this Washington Challenge resources has Gary's information and his cash flow projections and all of that in that link. And it'll be very helpful for you when you're doing your business plan.
And again, if anybody needs anything, if I don't know, the other thing is I always refer, if I have a problem with something in Southwest Virginia, I say, call Sandy Ratliff. She knows everybody. And she can get it done. So
you make me sound like I'm with the mafia. I know things.
You are with the mafia. Hey, Scott, do you have a question?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Along those lines of market research for those that are kind of focused on the tourism, Tanya, this might be a question for you. Do we have any market research that's been done on who's coming to Abington and demographics, things like that, how much money they're spending, where they're coming from, how far they're traveling, any of that information that that you guys have done?
Absolutely. I've got a lot of that information, so I'd be happy to share that with you.
Oh, I would love that. And I think probably some of my other friends here would as well.
Any other questions? Speak now. You got another whole hour.
The only thing I'd say is back to Jennifer's question. Do you know Jennifer Joliffe, who is with Molina Healthcare and also does the Lions Club?
I can get you connected with Jennifer. She's one of the board members on speech and hearing also. She's also another go-to person for that.
Yeah, she would be good to talk to, especially as you're setting up your business. She may be able to put you in the forefront of some of the Lions Club events and get your name, build your brand a little more out there. That's the only thing I was thinking. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, she's a great person.
By the way,
to.
Jennifer is she knows everybody too. She gets around.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Her name is Jennifer Jolie, Joll or Joliffe, I think. Jolliff, I think.
Yeah, Joliffe.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, in addition to that link with the resources and materials that I posted on chat, I also have a list of the mentors and folks in Abingdon and Washington County that can help you. Some of the resources like the Small Business Development Center, some of those that Gary mentioned, and they are on there for you to access, and as well as some other resources that you can tap into.
And don't be bashful. These people, that's their job, is to help you. So
yeah,
don't be bashful.
I've already told Scott this because I've talked to Scott at a few of our networking events, but for anybody else that's in the agritourism startup, a wonderful person to talk to would be David McLeish with Dreamland Alpacas. Him and his family have done a great job in this area. Pretty much you can't stop by a rest stop or anywhere else in the area and not see some of their products, some of their cards, some of their advertisements, and they run a very successful operation. So they're a good one to talk to about moving to the area and how they cultivated that brand and that business.
And he did the business challenge twice.
David McLeish is also the manager of the Abingdon Farmers Market. So if you were looking for a spot at the farmers market, he would be the person that you need to reach out to. Now, Scott, just a couple of things that I could share with you right off. Of course, we know that the main reasons visitors come to Abingdon right now is for either Barter Theater or the Virginia Creeper Trail. They're two largest drivers. We know that most of our customers are 55 or older, very well educated, with pretty high income levels. We saw a pretty big change during COVID, which was an exciting change, I think, is we saw a younger demographic, and we saw our drive market increase from about a 3-hour drive to a 5-hour drive. So we're concentrating some of our marketing right now up into Northern Virginia, DC, and as far down as Atlanta.
The other thing for those in the ag business, I can't tell you all the details, but there's a nonprofit called Appalachian Sustainable Development, and they are getting grants for stuff that you wouldn't even think exists. So if you haven't been in touch with them, you need to just so they know who you are, because it almost seems like they're coming up with an idea for everybody. It's just amazing. And I think they're headquartered in I can't remember where they're headquartered.
They're in Bristol.
Duffield, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they're
got a distribution center in Duffield.
Yeah, but their offices are in Bristol now. They used to be in Abingdon.
Oh, okay.
Two things I wanted to mention to everyone. First of all, if you've not started your business plan, what are you waiting on? You need to be doing that, because that's a big part of your score. And if you have never done a pitch before and you don't know where to even start, I can send you a list with links to past business pitch contests that we did for the Washington County Challenge and some other communities. Happy to share that. That's something you need to, if you're not comfortable talking about your business, you better be, because that's a big part of it. And what we've seen also with since COVID is even suppliers, you almost have to pitch your business and yourself to be able to carry some products anymore. So that's going to be a big part, and you need to be comfortable doing that. And Daisy did a great job at the Bristol Casino Pitch Contest too. So there, I will send a list out to everyone either tonight or tomorrow. And one thing I wanted to mention, I think what's happened why you all are using a different link. If you didn't register on Zoom, if you didn't get my email or the email sent out from the Washington County Challenge, that's probably why. And if you would go to that and go ahead and register to get your own link, that way we won't have this confusion next Tuesday. And Kathy, you want to share with them who the lineup is for next week, why they need to be prepared?
I will have to look at my.
It's the Ask the Expert panel. And you want to tell who these people are?
Oh, yes. Mike Spiegler just contacted me today to find out if he was supposed to be on tonight. So the expert panel is going to be Mike Spiegler with Spiegler Blevins. And he's also the CPA firm that gives the year's CPA services to the startup winner. Mickey Tyler with Insurance Center of Abingdon is going to do our insurance. I emailed John Martin. It'll either be John Martin with Penn Stewart, or it will be Mark Graham with, he's the lead counsel at Emory and Henry College. So I'm not exactly sure. We asked John Martin because he does more business stuff, and I haven't heard from him is the reason I'm not quite sure. I need to follow up with him tomorrow. But we have those three folks. Get your questions, ask questions about people are very confused, and I see this every year about their business and what is considered capital investment and what's considered expenses, annual expenses. And so, those kind of questions are very important for you to know the answer to, because you might think that you've covered all your expenses and you're not going to owe the IRS. And somewhere along the line, self-employed people, whether they're an LLC or whether self-employed, have to pay 15.3% for Social Security taxes. And so you need to know the answer to some of those questions so that you're not surprised at the end of a fiscal year. So you've got some of the best on this expert panel. And so think about your questions and have plenty, because those guys don't mind talking to you about it. And, now's your chance.
Yeah, you get it free.
And if you get an opportunity, go to that Noon Knowledge video program and look at the QuickBooks class. I think there's either 2 or 3 classes. Some of the things we just talked some of the things we just talked about, you need to know if your CPA is going to be giving you an explanation. You want to have a little background so it's not all ice cold to you. And just watching the videos is going to give you an insight that is going to help you, because you trust me when I tell you, you do not want to have a manual accounting system, period. You just do not.
The last thing I think I'll say to you all is, if you did not stop by the incubator for the networking night or prior to tonight's session, Sandy left gift bags that had a flash drive and some other things in it for each contestant. And I think that flash drive has got some information on it, doesn't it, Sandy?
The flash drive doesn't, but the objective was that was something you could use as you work on your business plan. Sometimes we move around, you go to a mentor or something, and you can take it with you. But I thought it would be helpful, as well as a nice pen as you sign those contracts away. And back to next week, and planning ahead with questions, as some of you all, especially you existing businesses, as you start to hire employees, that brings a whole nother part for your business. And it's good to talk to not only the insurance guy, but also the legal to find out. You need, in this day and time, you need to protect yourself and you need to have the right documentation so that you're prepared. I think we all know that the workforce has changed, and the better you are prepared, the better it's going to be running your business. And I will say that we do have a session coming up on March the 1st, challenges in the labor market. And that will be held by or presented by Rex Carter. And you can look at that.
That's in the new knowledge.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That's going to be a good one.
The classes, the titles of the classes are a little bit easier to find on our website because Jean has the title and the link associated with it. So you don't have to scroll through YouTube as much. But anyway, they're also on the YouTube channel. So you've got several ways to find that. They're also on our Facebook page.
Kathy,
Go ahead.
would you do me one favor? And being we have some folks here who will be competing as existing businesses, but we have some folks who may meet the guidelines as a startup as well, even though they're already in business. Would you just clear the waters on what is a startup and what's expanding and what's required of each?
I will. I think it's probably time. Let me see if I can share this screen. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the startup business is anything up to 2 years. Having said that, the startup business has more awards. You win the $5,000 or the year CPA services, and you win the legal services. And the expanding business, you absolutely to collect the whole $5,000. The last $2,500 you can't collect until you prove that you have hired an employee and you present 3 weeks of, three quarters of their 941 taxes. So, think really hard. And if you want to change, what you are or what you're looking for, you absolutely can. But if you compete as an expanding business, you are required to create a job. If you compete as a startup business, you are considered the job. So that's kind of the difference.
So if you've been in business less than 2 years and you don't plan to create a job, you may want to consider being a startup. If you've been in business more than 2 years, you don't have a choice. You have to be an expanding, correct?
That is correct. And if there's a question, and we already have had somebody that question asked the question and provided us with, we don't need to see your whole bank statement, but we do need to see the first date of the first deposit that you make in your bank account to make sure that you are competing if you're competing as a startup, that you've been in business for less than 2 years. We do everything we possibly can do. And the other thing that probably everybody needs to know is there's a pitch award. So the best pitch wins $1,500. There's no questions asked on that. The best written business plan, which is the highest score, and we have anonymous judges in 3 different locations, but that wins $1,000 just for the highest score. And the most knowledgeable is scored by one of our pitch judges. We don't identify which one that is, but that wins $1,000. And those 3 awards, there's not any requirements other than you start your business. The rest of them are paid receipts. And we do, we do look at your receipts. We do look at the time you've been in business. We look at whether you're zoned for business. We do look at all of that. You would not believe the number of times that we've had contestants rat each other out. If they know, like we had somebody that was in the challenge that we didn't know, but they had been in business in Kingsport before they moved to Washington County, and they won. And we had somebody say, wait just a minute, look at this. And and it was viable. It was a viable argument. The guy had been in business for 5 or 6 years in Kingsport and competed in Washington County, and so we had to disqualify him. And we don't like to do those things, but we do try to spend the money that we have in a responsible manner, in a way that it's going to be beneficial for the business. And we try to help you for the next year if you want it. We try to make sure that we do everything we can possibly do to nurse you along and help you keep your business afloat until you've gotten the, I'll say gotten the hang of it, but
Well, half of the funds come from the public, and we want to be good stewards of those funds, and that all of our award funders trust this, that we're managing the money correctly, because we won't get it again. We won't be able to continue another 10 years if we're not showing that we're being good stewards of that money. So that's why Kathy can be hard to deal with. Remember, I'm the good.
Sandy plays good cop.
I will say, if you don't have integrity in the contest, you won't have integrity in business, and you won't be in it too long.
That's right.
Well, Joshua, when money's involved, people's personalities change a little bit.
Hey, I already checked my zoning thanks to you guys, and I know for a fact that unless I hire an employee, my house is good to go. So
now here is something that that's why I keep saying, look at your guidelines. You must, unless you are an agribusiness or an agritourism business, to collect the money, the final half of your money, you have to have an Abingdon, Glade Spring, Damascus storefront within a year. So again, read those guidelines. If you're confused about them or you've got questions about them, please ask, because we want to help you through this. We want you to make it to the end.
To clarify,
gentlemen, I'm gonna ease on out of here, but please, if you got any questions or you need any forms or documents or whatever, I'm your guy. So please feel free to contact me.
Thanks, Gary. We so appreciate your help.
Okay, adios.
Bicycle.
Janice, I see you have a question, your hand up.
I do. To clarify, because Josh just asked it, but I'm in the same situation he is. I do business legally out of my residence. So I don't really have any intention of opening a literal storefront.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of you in this year that we're going to have to go back to the committee and make some decisions, because there are, even though we offer half price rent, there are a few of you that we're going to have to take a look at that, and see if it's zoned for that kind of business, if we, how we do that, because we've got several service businesses this year that we haven't had in the past. But the question that will Gary's information be available? Sandy, isn't it in this link, or
yeah, it is. It's already there. I did it while he was presenting.
Okay. So look at your chat box and copy down both of these links. And, make sure you get make sure you get all the information you need. And of course, Sandy's the technology guru. So if you don't have some piece of information, she'll have it.
I've got a question.
Kathy, can you take your screen sharing down, please? Thank you. Okay.
So I started my business in 2020, the idea and the actual work of it, but I didn't actually incorporate until 2022. So would I be considered existing or startup?
So
And I've only
did you start collecting? When did you start selling or servicing, or when did you start collecting fees?
Well, yeah, I was just like making bouquets on the side for cash in 2020, and that's where it started. So
you haven't started. Your business is less than 2 years old.
okay. And then if I were considered an existing business, my mother and I are equal partners in our corporation. Would one of us becoming full-time on the farm, because we both have off-farm jobs, would that count as hiring an employee?
So we've had a family member situation before, and it's in the guidelines. Let me see if I can find the answer without confusing the situation. Just give me 1 second. Guys, do you remember where it is in the guidelines? Oh, okay, I got you. If participating as an existing business, hiring your spouse or other family member would qualify as a full-time job if you show proof of 3/4 of the IRS 940 and 940 tax return paid on behalf of the employee. Is that clear as mud? Did you understand?
Yeah, that'll work. So, yeah, then my overall question is, should I be involved in this competition as a startup or as an existing?
I'm afraid to advise you on that because
that's your choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it depends. Of course, you've heard everybody tonight. There's more startups competing. However, there's more awards for that startup. So that's kind of a,
You're
that's kind of your
eligible for
choice.
either one. You're eligible.
You're eligible for either one.
You didn't incorporate and become a business until 2022, so you're eligible to compete for either one.
All right. So it can't just be up to you guys, read my stuff, see where it goes. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think you'll be all right, and you might want to work with Tanya a little bit more since you have been working with her. We are here for you to work with. Don't think that just because we're running this program that we're not reachable. We're here to help walk you through this process until you're at the end and successful.
But we can only do so much. We can't do the work for you. So you got to make.
We cannot. Please start your business plans now, and we can edit the fire out of it. But what's in your head has to get on a piece of paper quickly.
Thank you.
I have kind of a silly question, actually. So I spent a lot of time in Damascus because I have 3 teenagers that go to Holston High School. So Damascus also has a farmer's market. I didn't know if everybody knew that, but what if you set up at the farmer's market every week? Could that be your storefront, or is that like a no? I was just thinking for these guys, can that be considered a storefront?
Well, and again, that's the agritourism thing that actually works. Those kind of things work. We're going to have to talk about this because I know of several of you that, what your business is doesn't require an office. As a matter of fact, if you were sitting in an office, you couldn't get your job done.
Yeah. And I got a question for Tanya too about, so my family, if we travel to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, and you check in if you've rented a cabin or whatever. There's this coupon book, it's got all the cards in there where it's like buy one, get one free, or, at those mountain roller coasters and stuff. So do we have anything like that for Abingdon for when people are checking into these Airbnbs, like where it's just like a stack to promote all of what we've got to offer of like maybe a little discount here and there kind of thing?
We do not, and it is my job to promote the businesses. It's not my job to ask them to give out discounts. So I don't feel like that should be a job that I should be doing. If a promoter comes to town and they want to put together a booklet and they want to reach out to you guys and you guys are willing to offer that, then I think that's completely up to you. My services are free to Abingdon businesses to promote Abingdon and the things that are in Abingdon. And with that, we do some hub and spoke kinds of things. We want people to, we rather for people to stay here and to eat here and then go out and do their outdoor recreation things, or to go to other communities, to theaters. But I don't feel like it's our job to promote it. And I don't feel comfortable, especially during this time of asking when they're paying, $12 minimum wage and other things for discounts. But we do a ton of marketing, and we do a lot of marketing in that 5-hour drive period. That small business, it would be difficult. It wouldn't be impossible. It would be very difficult for small businesses to get into some of the ads that we place into magazines and the places that we spend our money on Facebook and social media. So I feel like that's my support, is to get them here. And then if you want to offer a discount to get them into your store, then that's completely up to each business owner.
Okay.
So 2 things about that, Jennifer. I in another lifetime had a different profession, and every class I went to said, don't discount your services. Every single class I ever went to, if I was a service business, said, do not discount your services. People will start to expect it, and they will not pay you later if you're doing those discounts. Now, back to the discount books. That'd be a good business for somebody to be in, is to go around and, and create discount programs. But that's those promoters, as Tanya said, the reason you see that in Gatlinburg is because it's a high density tourist place, and some marketing company is doing that. It's not the local,
person.
Whoever. It's the same kind of marketing company that's got their names on the Food City grocery bag or pharmacy bags. That's a promoter that does that.
Maybe like those little cards, like my son's baseball team, where you know what I'm talking about? They sell those cards kind of like that.
And
well,
see, that's a promoter as well,
not cheap.
promoters putting that together. And and the baseball team is one benefiting from that.
Right.
Well, Kathy, I loved how you worded that, like about cheapening your services. I never thought of it like that. You just enlightened me totally on that.
And we don't know what, we don't know what somebody's bottom line is. We don't know how much money they're making. So what if they're only making 10%? And then, then we say, oh, well, you'd be willing to give a 10% discount. So I don't want to get into that.
I'll tell you something else that'll happen and if it hasn't already happened, it will with all of you. Once you're in business, everybody, if you are the business owner that is easy to get to, if somebody can walk in the door and ask you for something, they're going to walk into your business and ask you to contribute to. And it might be the Rotary Frolics, or it might be the baseball team, or it might be the Girl Scouts, or whoever it is.
Or all of them.
I finally had to create a discount card for my customers, and it had 10 holes to punch. And I knew how much you were paying for your haircuts. And so after 10 holes were punched with this special hole punch that they couldn't get anywhere, I ordered it when the office place was still in business. And I had this special little hole punch. And if you had 10 services, which was, most people come, some people come every 3 weeks. So if you had 10 services on that on that card, then I would give you 10% of whatever you'd spend. But you're going to have people ask you for stuff that aren't spending one dime with your business. And you have to decide how much that goodwill is worth and how much you can afford to give out. Kitsy's, I can see Kitsy grinning, retail, they sometimes do sales so that they can get rid of product. But if you're doing services, you're in another whole sphere as far as giving away stuff.
Time is valuable as well. And if you're a service provider, you're giving away your time.
Well, and also in the service industry, from my experience, if you're providing a quality service and you have your target market laid out, if you charge a little more, you'll actually get your target market and a little more of the higher end clientele experience. Because if you price it too low, they're going to be like, I ain't doing that, because it's probably a horrible experience.
It's a catch-22, I can tell you. But
it's like it's like when you go into AutoZone, right? Or you go into Lowe's and you say, what's the best? What's the cheapest? I'll take the middle. I mean, I do that all the time. It's like, I don't want the cheapest brake pads for my vehicle. I don't want the most expensive either, but I'll take that middle one because it's probably a good value.
Well, it just depends on what kind of service you're offering. But again, you have to figure out how to market that business. And Kitsy's got her hand up.
Yeah, I was just, you've had that up. You lost your circulation in your arm.
Mine's not really a question. It's more of, I'm in a very good location and I love to promote other businesses. If anybody ever wants to drop off business cards, flyers, you're more than welcome to. I know Janice has dropped off cards and I talk to everybody. I'm good at that. So I'm always like, hey, are you visiting? And if they are, and they say they come in often, I'm like, hey, here's the card from Curated Properties. And she has some fabulous places to stay. Check her out if you haven't already. So that's just one example, but we are game to put up flyers or whatever, because we get a lot of the tourists right there because we're close to the barter and the visitor center.
Yeah, network with each other. That means more than any advertising that you can pay for. Is if you network with each other, you'll learn a lot from each other.
And for those of you who may have tourism businesses, I might recommend that you go ahead and create a TripAdvisor account, because on TripAdvisor, even though we a lot of times associate places to stay with TripAdvisor, if you pull up TripAdvisor, it'll say things to do in the area. So I would go ahead and try to get on TripAdvisor. And then I'll share some information with you from Virginia.org, which is the Virginias for Lovers state website. And there's an opportunity for you to get onto that website. You will have to create a login, and then you'll have to wait a few days for someone to email you back to say you've been approved. But once you're approved on that, you will be in the Blue Ridge Highlands section. And as people are planning their trips in Virginia to come to that area, to come to our area under the Blue Ridge Highlands, you will show up under that. Be prepared. You have 200 words. You have a place for a phone number. You have a place for your website page, or go to your Facebook page. You have the opportunity to add some photos. But at the very bottom of the page, be sure to check that you are a part of Washington County, because that determines where you show up on that website. And then I will, as we go through, I'll share some other free marketing opportunities for you. But those are some really kind of simple things that you can go ahead and get started on. We have a new calendar on our Visit Abingdon page. So if you have an event going on, if you will create a Facebook event or an Eventbrite, we have this software that will crawl out, and it spends a whole lot of time going in and pulling in all of this information. And if you're doing something within the perimeter that we have set, it will pull all of those activities into our website. And then we go in a couple of days a week and we allow those to come on to the front page of that calendar. And I'll know that Dan has done some fly tying workshops in partnership with Wolf Hills Brewing Company. And then those have shown up on our website. Wolf Hills Brewing is having a pretty famous band, If Birds Could Fly, on May the 6th. That has already populated onto our website. May the 27th is going to be Plum Alley Days that the Kiwanans do. That's already shown up on our website. So that calendar seems to be working very well. So if you have any events, please do that so it will come on that site.
The Rotary Frolics on your website?
I don't think, did you all create a Facebook yet? I didn't go in this morning, but we'll try to look tomorrow. If it's not, I'll call you.
I'm teasing. Does anybody have any more business questions? And let me say something about creating this office. The smallest office at the incubator is $250 a month. And if you get half price rent, that makes it $125 a month. So don't be too awfully worried about this whole office thing. Let's see if you win first, and then we'll work some things out, okay?
Hey, Mary, I see you have your hand up.
I was just going to mention, you mentioned Plum Alley Days, and my business, I'm hoping that it'll be open by then, because I'm on Plum Alley as well as Main Street, because I'm between the two. So some of you guys that are doing like the fishing guides and all that kind of thing, if you guys want a booth at Plum Alley Days, come here. Feel free, come see me. We'll talk and just set up a free booth. Let's promote each other.
Sweet.
That's awesome, Mary. Do you have an email address we could get from you?
Sure, Mary at PuertoRicoBlessings.com.
Mary at PuertoRicoBlessings.com.
Yeah, I have a business down there as well. So
awesome. Cool. I'll reach out.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't, go to the link that I sent yesterday and get registered on Zoom so we won't have to go through this again. I would greatly appreciate that. That'll help with a smooth train next week. And don't forget your questions. Everybody feel good? Are you charged up and ready to do this?
Jennifer, your hand is still raised. Do you have
I
something?
know. I need to take it down, don't I? I wanted to say thank you guys, because the whole business side of this is all new to me, and I'm just so enlightened. Just every time I talk with anybody, even at our meet and greet, it's a lot of fun to learn the business side of things, because it's something I don't know a whole lot about. So I learned a lot tonight. It was amazing. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks everybody. Have a blessed week. Carry your umbrella and be a blessing to somebody you come in contact with. Thank you. See you next week. Same time, same place.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.